Nothing's changed, except Audacity's a new version because shit can't be. What if we just made this button a different color and also broke this thing?
No, yeah, it works. Stop fucking with it. Yeah.
Oh, we could make it do blah 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 blah. I'm like, okay, I see you. That is really brilliant. That's really rad. No one's asked for that.
Mm-hmm.
If you put dev time to it, I'll hobble you in bed at night while you fucking sleep.
Episode 404 of the TV Dudes, recorded September 28th, 2022. More Than You Can Chew. This week, we're talking about More Than You Can Chew. Netflix has two offerings, with Ryan Murphy taking another bite at his gluttonous Netflix deal with the famous cannibal in Dahmer, and scientists exploring the human, or maybe not human, genome and creating a were-chupacabra in the Imperfects. Then there's the 3-episode premiere of Andor, which has some of us wondering if maybe Star Wars bit off a bit more than it could chew, or maybe it just bites. Then we'll stretch our food metaphor just a tiny bit further with our double dessert of She-Hulk and Star Trek Lower Decks. But before we get to all that, I'm Randy.
I'm Les.
And I'm Nick, and don't worry about that smell. That's just some meat that went bad. Don't worry about it.
His fridge
and
broke.
We're the TV Dudes. So yeah, we're I'm just gonna dive right into it, guys. Let's get to it. It's TV diary time.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
Yes. I am. I do want to say I'm shocked that any of my snark from our text thread made it into the Star Wars centric intro.
You finally hit a Star Wars show, Les, that I was not into. Except that I then watched episode 4 this morning, and I'm slowly.
I did enjoy getting to send the yes, feel the hate flow through you gif.
Well, I'm assuming that you might like the next one. Randy, because that's the actual episode too, because the first 3 episodes that drop are like a fucking long setup.
Essentially, yeah. And I think that's what it was. Also, I will say, you guys are going to hate this, it was my favorite thing of the 3 things we watched this week, so... But we'll talk about it. TV Diaries. So here's what I watched this week. I watched going through Ted Lasso with a friend, and we watched episodes 7 through 9. So we got to the weird Coach Beard episode, which she loved the hell out of. I was like, hey, this is getting a little surreal, and she really enjoyed that. And then the episode where Ted reveals that his father committed suicide. There's some notable stuff in there. Patton Oswalt has a new Netflix special called We All Scream that I watched and was delightful. It's a little more about Patton and getting older, and it's interesting to see him sort of changing as he gets a little older. I will say I didn't think it was his strongest special. I will also say, and I'm generally not a fan of this, I don't think you should do crowd work, especially in your big specials. Just do your routine. Don't talk to the audience. It's almost always death.
Well, I mean, that's a thing that it's fun to do. I think, when you're there in the audience, I think when you're there in the live, I think that's fun. But when you're watching it being recorded, you're like, fuck off. I don't want to I want to talk to any of these people.
Yeah. But also, I mean, for me, it gives me anxiety. I don't want to be talked to. I like comedians. I don't want a comedian to fucking talk to me. I don't want to do crowd work. I don't want to work with you. I just want to watch you make me laugh. That's
like, yeah, job. There's like, you're breaking the rules. Didn't you prep anything? Why the fuck am I involved?
Yeah.
Did I drink 2 drinks to do your job?
Yeah, maybe I'm not interested in being part of your material. Maybe I want to keep my life separate.
All right, we need a suggestion from the audience. 9/11.
I need a suggestion from the audience. Shut up and do your fucking job. All right. Anyway.
Well, I need a person.
I heard Jimmy Fallon.
Crowd work is death, and I hate it. Did y'all see this amazing? Sorry, slight divergent. The guy who posted on Twitter, he's like, "Have you ever seen a headline that gets worse and worse as you read it?"
Yes.
That is like, it's amazing. It's like Jimmy Fallon being brought to Fortnite to get Gen X Samsung is bringing the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon to Fortnite as it looks to connect with Gen Z in its latest move into the metaverse.
Yes.
And the guy who tweeted is like, I'm fascinated by sentences that get worse with every single word. Sentences where not even prepositions offers any hope or rest.
Jeez,
Because that is terrible.
That is a depressing sentence.
Well, and it's a Yahoo Serious level of nonsense words. Like but it keeps going. And
yeah,
it feels like one of those things you learn in 6th grade of like, technically this is a word, or like this sentence doesn't break grammar rules. Ha ha.
Like well, they can't possibly get any worse, and then they top it off with metaverse, and you're like, well, I stand surprisingly corrected.
I watched a couple more episodes of Parks and Rec on my slow rewatch. I watched episodes 11 and 12 of season 2, which is the Christmas episode where Leslie gets dragged into the Councilman Dexhart's orbit, and Andy and April start to sort of connect a little bit. The show's great. It's funny to look back and think of. I had written it off on season 1. I in a memory that came up. I was talking about Community and Parks and Rec, and I was like, Community, you're great. Parks and Rec, you're sentenced to death for the crime of making Leslie or Amy Poehler unfunny. And I'm like, wow, that didn't age well because it's fantastic. But then I watched another episode of Reboot, which I really love. It turns out to be one of my favorite comedies of the year. I'm very surprised by that. And I watched the remainder of The Resort, which ultimately, did you guys finish The Resort?
No.
Mm-mm.
Don't finish The Resort. I watched it all the way through, hoping that there'd be some kind of fun follow through, but really, much as I liked everybody in it, like Nick Offerman, Kristen Milioti, William Jackson Harper, like everybody in this is good. The two kids, the guy who's like the private detective, they're all good, but the story is just nonsense and spins out, and I was not happy. And it comes to a weird happy ending that isn't believable. The whole thing's a mess. I did not wind up liking it. I would not recommend following through. It's more Kristen Milioti, which we all need in our life. Watched the latest episode of Rings of Power, which I'm still really digging. Watched the 3rd episode of Atlanta, which, did you guys see the 3rd episode of Atlanta yet?
I don't think so.
No, I caught up on episode 2 though, and God,
what is the
damn.
The 2nd episode is the Spite episode, right?
Yes. The 3rd episode, I won't say
no,
too much
I've
about
not
it
seen the 3rd. Then no,
it's another great episode.
Cool.
It's got a super good Paperboy story. It's got a super good Earn story. It does weird, dark things. Atlanta is going to go out on a super high here. And then I saw a trio of movies. I went to the theater and saw Barbarian, which I loved. And the only thing I will say is, everyone, if you have any fondness for horror at all, go see this movie. Know as little as possible about it, and you will have a good time. Do Revenge, which we're going to talk about on the Patreon, and I also really enjoyed. And Scream 4, because my coworker Serena, I was talking about watching Scream as part of my Halloween Septober watching, and she was like, "Have you seen Scream 4?" And I'm like, "No, I didn't really like Scream 3." She's like, "No, you should watch Scream 4," and I did, and it was good. It's interesting because it's like it's got all these it's got a ton of actors in it in like little bits, and they open by doing Stab, which is their riff on Scream. And these are the movies within the movies that actually exist. And there's like 7 of them. And they're showing us little bits and pieces. And they got famous actors. They've got Amy Teagarden from Friday Night Lights. They got Kristen Bell. They've got Anna Paquin. I feel like there's a couple other notable people in there too. And basically it keeps revealing. It's almost like Twilight Zone. It's like the movie starts, reveals itself to be a movie within a movie. We jump into the movie that is watching the other movie within a movie. And I seriously thought for a minute this whole movie was going to be meta and they were just going to be doing new intros for like an hour and a half. And I would have been okay with that because all those were kind of fun.
Kick off the 3rd act with a reboot. Yeah.
Yes. But they do get to, they're doing some stuff with Courtney Cox's character. Alison Brie plays a press agent for Sydney's book tour. She's trying to escape her killer life. She's got a niece played by Emma Roberts. I forget who all else is in it. Hayden Panettiere plays Kirby, one of the girls. It's a fun cast. It's a fun Scream movie. Scream does what it does. It was much better than 3, which I barely remember. I just remember not liking it. And this was fun, and I'm looking forward to watching Scream 5, aka Scream, because people know how to title fucking movies.
I actually like that franchise because it starts to become the villains in it are ones that are trying to reboot the Stab franchise. They become like like, that they're trying to keep it going. Like it's this like the movie is meta itself enough, but I like that even the villains are trying their best to keep this franchise fresh and going.
That's my TV Diaries.
Well, this week, let's see, I checked out Forever Purge, watched a bunch of episodes of Psych, watched a couple episodes of Night Court. Nick and I, in our effort to make as much out of a month of full moon channel as possible, who were joking? I'm going to keep that for a couple of months. I mean, there's 14 of every fucking movie. Everything's got a franchise. Just about. Bad Channels is almost standalone. So we watched Bad Channels because, we watched Dollman versus Demonic Toys, which recapped 15 minutes or so of Bad Channels incorrectly.
Right? That's the best part about it, is that it gets it wrong.
It gets it wrong. Watching them back to back, you can tell that Full Moon never expected anyone to get both these videotapes at once. Like, definitely did not anticipate streaming.
So we watched Dollman first, which was the girl from Dollman vs. Demonic Toys is it flashed back and goes, oh yeah, everyone got shrunk into these bottles, but everyone got like reversed except for me. I'm still small. So we're watching Bad Channels waiting for this to happen, and it happens to the wrong girl. The actress in the character is the same from that previous movie, but obviously they couldn't get the same actress back. So they just decided, fuck it.
Now we're just going to say this other character from the movie that, you stayed shrunk instead of her. Okay. Yeah. Bad Channels. And I don't think it was too terribly close in plot to TerrorVision. It is the same director, and he almost refused doing it because he was like, guys, I just did basically this movie for you. Which isn't entirely untrue, but still. Watched a couple episodes of Dahmer, which we'll discuss. Watched the second episode of the new Quantum Leap, which finds him on board the space shuttle Atlantis.
Oh man, I need to watch that. I forgot that was on.
And of course, there's like a huge, not between him, between the other astronauts, like a huge family drama argument in the middle of like a space emergency that's like, oh, if you stop arguing about dad-daughter shit, what the fuck is wrong with you? Do your training. Which is just some network TV gloriousness. The thing I really am enjoying about the new Quantum Leap versus the old, they were going to have to do some kind of sinisterness to the modern one. It just wasn't going to play the same. And basically, I like that the Quantum Leap team doesn't know why the fuck he did it. Like, why did he jump into this untested thing, which was almost certainly going to go wrong? And then in the second episode, he starts to get some of his memories back. And the team back home is like, no, don't encourage him to do that. Like, we don't know why he's there. Like, him, if he went there as some kind of spy to do terrorism, him not having his memory is keeping him from doing that plan. So until we know what the fuck he's doing, they're like, and it was just a weird realization of like, oh, that's kind of cool. Ernie Hudson and his team, they aren't against him, but they're holding back, helping him get his memory back. Just like until they can figure
it out before he does. Okay, I got it. That's neat.
And I was like, all right, that's a little cool.
Because I was gonna say that I hated the ending of the last one of like, I can't tell you why I did this, but soon it'll all become clear. And I'm like, that's writer speak for we have no idea why, but we're gonna write it later, so don't worry about it.
I do like they have a little bit of follow up on the next person that walks into her apartment after that message. It's destroyed. Like, her apartment's wrecked. And they're like, were you robbed? I can call, like, they're pulling their phone out and like, have you called the police yet? She's like, no, I did this. Ben left me a message saying that he had hidden secrets from me, and so I just kind of figured if he did that, what the hell else is in this apartment? And it's just wrecked. And she's like, okay,
so
well,
that's crazy. So I ripped it apart like Gene Hackman at the end of the conversation.
Basically. And she's like, well, that's insane. I'm like, yeah, I thought so too. And then I found this USB drive hidden in our bookcase. So... And so I was like,
who's
okay,
crazy now?
That's really fun. Just like standing in the middle, like justified in the middle of your crazy shit. Just like, ha, who's crazy now?
It's still you.
It's still you, but okay. Good job. Give me the drive. Watched Andor, and we'll discuss. Because of watching a bunch of Psych, I ended up on the Dual Spires episode, which is just how many Twin Peaks cast can you get to guest star in one episode? Like, even down they get the singer from Twin Peaks to do the psych theme. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
all of it. It's insane.
Gus is great in that episode because all he's like, why am I the only black person here?
Oh man, that whole thing. I had not seen that episode since Get Out, and as soon as they walk in, he's like, "We need to leave, Sean." Like from the start, every time anything happens, Gus is like,
This place is wrong.
"Yeah, I'm out."
It's not right.
Yeah, it's great. But because of watching that, Lisa had never watched. We watched that together. Lisa had never watched Twin Peaks, even though she's seen, pop culture, and so it's not lost on her.
Yeah.
But she was like, "Yeah, I don't know. I was kind of needing a new weird show. Maybe I'll give Twin Peaks a try." I was like, honestly, I'm gonna tell you right now, knowing that you don't like other David Lynch movies, that's a lost cause. You shouldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, so instead we threw in Wayward Pines, which he'd never seen.
Oh yeah.
The second season is meh. The first season, though, is a crazy cool twist, and I realized,
Wait.
oh shit, Lisa's never seen it.
There was a second season of Wayward Pines?
Yep.
Did I know that?
Probably not. It's such a twist. There shouldn't be.
There shouldn't have been.
No.
Yeah, clearly.
But I believe there is. If I remember right. Maybe I dreamt that.
Yeah.
It was a bad dream. I ate something bad. But anyway, we watched like 3 episodes of Wayward Pines, and then I went to bed. I have no idea if she finished it out. I need to ask her how far she got and what the fuck she thinks is happening in that show. Watching it now, it just reminds me, it makes me realize how much From reminds me of Wayward Pines. In terms of like functioning town or semi-functioning town that's super fucking weird. Where are you? Kept up with The Patient, which is slow and dark. Speaking of dark, I watched the Goldbergs season 10 premiere.
Les, I love your Goldbergs updates. It's like the bizarro version of Kyle's F1 updates.
It's so
great.
Like,
I don't want to hear anything Kyle's going to tell me about F1, but I want to hear everything about the Goldbergs. And I never want to watch a minute of it. I've never seen so much as a minute of the Goldbergs.
Is he still like? Are they still saying he's not been fired? Like, is he technically his character is just dead?
I think technically he was never fired. His character was killed off, and he didn't show up to shoot any of it. Like, I thought at least maybe because of the amount of pop culture
he still
shit,
exists in this universe as a ghost.
Right. Like, well, and okay, so this is an insanely 80s nerd culture reference show, right? So like, there's definitely been like a shit ton of Star Wars stuff. Like, they definitely should have had Murray as a Force ghost alongside Grandpa, who died. Like, and so this whole episode
they should have recast.
This was a big thing. They just should have had the stunt double. This was a big thing on the show. Like, this episode was like getting rid of Murray's chair and then regretting it.
He's more meme than man now.
And because they had to do something to show that, like, I mean, it is a huge, like, these characters' dad died, for fuck's sake. But they don't have the actor playing him there at all. And everybody at home knows that it's like after Wendy Covey, like, I can't remember, the mom actress responded to some fan of like, hey, we also would have loved for the Murray shots to have looked better this season. It's really hard to work with someone who doesn't want to be there for half of his shoot. And like, they open this episode with this crazy fast recap because it very much is a show that is past its lifespan and it's just keep going on like no one can stop us, like sheer madness. And it's this like speed, like micro, like blah 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 blah, and we got to go through this and do this, and Barry moved back home, and we don't know.
Speaking of like Dahmer, it's like a serial killer that wants to get caught. Like, it's like,
Yeah.
why isn't anyone stopping us?
Seriously, it is very much that. Like, and Barry got into medical school, and he decided the best thing was to move home. But there was one thing that made us stop, and the camera drifts over to the recliner, and the caption says like sudden somber music, and that's it.
That's amazing.
I was like, you just killed a 10-season TV dad off screen because he's a dick. But he wasn't fired, so there's that.
He was just killed.
Can't stress that enough.
Yeah. I cannot stress that enough. You'd be a fool and a communist to think otherwise. Watched Do Revenge, and then Fanny and I watched True Romance, which I had not revisited in a very long time.
Oh right, you
Really?
missed the when we did it for what's it, the Scotathon.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's right.
I must have missed that. Or was I there for that? Jesus Christ.
No, you
There's
weren't. I
gonna be
remember that me and Randy had to handle that one alone. I think because you
Yeah.
were pissed you didn't get to talk about Floyd.
Yes. So we rewatched it specifically because of the casting announcement on Nick and I's web series, which we'll discuss in a moment. But yeah, we rewatched it to watch Floyd, which is Brad Pitt's. I will go ahead and just go ahead and fight me. It's his finest hour.
I can't argue
It's
that.
amazing. He's so great and some cleaning product. Yeah, the rest of that movie is a 90s white dude wet dream. And Patricia Arquette is not a human being at all. Like, she is just a function of Slater. And all the rest of it is like every like Twitch dialogue Tarantino thing that he can't not do, like a Tourette's syndrome cleverness, absent any other maturity. Like, I can't believe how badly that aged for me. Holy fuck. It's everything that aggravates me about Tarantino now, but just like boiled out of anything else.
How dare you say it's a self-insert for Quentin Tarantino? Just because Christian Slater starts off as a character working in a comic book shop that is approached by a lovely woman that wants to go to 3 kung fu movies in a row with him, that ends up being a prostitute that falls in love with him. I hear it.
Yep. And the whole thing, like the entire plot of the movie, she does not want him to go back to Drexel. He only does it because, and like, not even because she's hurt by Drexel. Like she doesn't show up physically injured or anything. She just says he wasn't that nice. And all the rest of it stems from this, like,
Gary
I can't
Oldman,
stand that my girl slept with other people before.
Short role in that movie, but woo!
Drexel's a lot, man.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer is Elvis.
I still love True Romance.
His knack
so
to walk, his knack for walking out of the room at the right before the shitstorm.
Yep.
Oh, the only thing going through her mind is, "You're so cool. You're so cool. You're so cool." And the entire fucking Tony Soprano beatdown. Jesus.
Oh
God.
yeah. That was awesome.
That said, it is an amazing cast full of like crazy clever shit.
Now I just do it to see the light go out in their eyes.
Like, yeah, like I mean, even his I'd fuck Elvis opening thing feels like Res Dogs. Like, it is Tarantino to
that doesn't make me gay. I just would say I would fuck Elvis.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, gun to my head.
Weird flex.
Yeah.
Also fucking Christopher Walken in that. Like, come on.
Oh, man.
That scene is great.
That whole scene is fucking gold. Has no idea what it has to do with the movie, but it's great.
Well, and we never see, like, there's still, I can't believe nobody's ever cashed in on a sequel to this, because there could absolutely be Blue Lou hunting them down. We never actually see Blue Lou, I don't think.
Yeah.
Well, no, because he fucks up early and he's the only smart person in the movie, because he's like, shit, I didn't get someone else to kill someone for me. I killed someone. That's bad. I need to like go and hide out. You got underlings take care of this for me.
And they were hiding out fine until 10 years down the road, Michael Rappaport's little short bump of a career has come to a valley again, and he starts to get Shorty style tell the story.
Shit, that's right. He gets away at the end. I forgot.
Yep, he just walks out.
He's one of the only guys who lives.
And he's on TJ Hooker.
Yep.
Lucky bastard.
Yeah, anyway. Oh man, it wasn't it was a weird moment. Like, having just watched Wayne's World and Encino Man, I can't believe they aged better. Like, I was really was kind of amazed.
Interesting. Man, I still love True Romance. It is, I mean, it's as problematic as every single thing that Tarantino does, but I just kind of expect that with Tarantino.
I think I'm also real soured on Tarantino at this point.
Yeah.
I think I
get that.
I saw Once Upon a Time once. I've still not seen Django. I saw Hateful Eight once. Hateful Eight was fun in the theater in like the 70mm crazy ass.
Everyone's only seen Hateful Eight one and some other portion of times, never twice fully.
The person who edited it for Netflix, I assume, is like 20 views.
Y'all, I've watched Hateful Eight like 5 times.
Okay, Randy's pulling the curve on it.
Look, I like Tarantino. I am aware. I understand, but I like Tarantino.
That's the point where his like that was the movie after his editor died, I think, and you can definitely tell.
No, it's not. There's more than that because almost all his movies, you can absolutely see the point at which his editor dies. You can absolutely see.
Which was the last one? Inglourious Basterds was the last one she was alive for, right?
I think so. Was she around for Kill Bill? She was, right?
Yeah, she was around for Kill Bill.
Surely it wouldn't have been 2 movies.
But
no, I'm not saying I'm not saying that his films were narratively tight to begin with. But
Django was the first one. But no, you're right. You can, I mean, as a fan, you can 100% see it. It is night and day. Like,
yeah,
there's no one there going, Quentin, we don't need that 20-minute picture of somebody's feet. We don't need it. You don't need that. There's no one telling him that now. And the thing is, I still fucking love the dude's stuff. Like, I got the audiobook of
Once Upon a Time.
Right.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, which is somehow 10 times more obnoxious and self-indulgent than his movies, and yet I really enjoyed it. So
strange man with strange tastes, Randy.
I'm just broken when it comes to Tarantino. I am well aware of it, but yes, I 100%. Honestly, this makes me want to go watch Hateful Eight again. So,
well, that's my TV Diaries. Nick,
you have a sickness. Me and Les also watched Forever Purge, and I thought that was pretty good.
Oh, I did leave off the puppet movie we watched today, so Nick, you'll have to talk about it.
I love that me and Les every once in a while will go, okay, I think we need a break. Let's watch like an actually good movie, but then we try and find a good movie we both haven't watched, and what a more difficult search that is. We can't just pull up the Full Moon subscription and hit random like when we like let's watch a bad movie. Like, we have to actually put effort in, like, nah, I don't know, no, Moonfall, I don't think that's what we're looking for. And then, Forever Purge with Josh Lucas in all his, kind of quasi-racist glory. I think that Purge movie makes only one mistake in it in saying that the previous movie was null and void of they reinstated the Purge.
Mm-hmm.
I think that movie should be The Last Purge. Like, there's one more Purge and then it's going to be discontinued. And then that movie would make a lot more sense with how the Forever Purge starts.
You're right. It's and it would definitely tie into the whole thing of like the Biden Trump of it all is sort of like, oh, the shit the government doesn't go far enough. But there is something to the notion, and I think it's sort of the November 6th or the January 6th of it all.
Yeah.
In that basically these guys got back in power. The Purge was gone for like 4 years.
But they get back in power.
They got back in power and then
they snatch victory from the jaws of victory.
Yeah. But see, the thing is, that's what I like about it. It's like, these guys are so fucking nuts. They're like, not only do we want the Purge back, now we're so mad you took it away that we wanted to go on forever. Such a fucking metaphor for Trump. It's such a metaphor for it.
For me, it's kind of like Alien, like the argument for Alien 3, like, well, it's supposed to be depressing and no one gets away. I'm like, well, that's not very fun. Like,
I did love the every horror movie has the trick it has to pull of keeping characters thinking that the day is going normally for longer than they should. Right?
Brilliant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Brilliant that it's the day after the Purge, so nothing looks suspicious, even though it should be.
Yeah.
There's bodies and blood everywhere, and so like, fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing is going to look extra sinister to the point where you're going to be looking for shit. It's like, it's actually really, really brilliant, and they take a real advantage of it. And of course, the not too, subtlety is not these movies' forte anyway, but just like, I figured out 20 minutes earlier, I'm like, oh, they're going to have to go to Mexico to get out of America. And then suddenly it just drops it on a message board. Canada and Mexico are opening their borders for 3 hours.
Yeah, Nick and I cackled laughing. Yeah, I also really liked the moments of like the first couple of times people run into the Forever Purgers. They don't turn running from this psychopath in a stupid mask with a shotgun in front of you. There's a moment of like, hey man, that shit ended at midnight. Take the fucking dude.
Yeah, there's like an exhaustion. Like, come on,
are you still drunk? Come on, dude, shower it off. Like, there's not an immediate, oh my god, run. Like, it I don't know. Horror movies set on Halloween get to pull the same thing. Satan's Little Helper pulls a lot of the same shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then me and Les watched Landshark, which
that was our good movie we went looking for.
Wait, what?
Landshark. We watched the 2018 Landshark, which is different from the 2017 Landshark. Because there are two different movies with that same moniker. We watched the I want to say, what was it? The Korean version of it? The Korean movie, was it?
I believe so, yes.
But no, I think it was a Chinese production actually, because the production company at least had Chinese characters when it first came up. But either way, the greatness of it was just how many movies it rips off of, like, we actually couldn't steal any ideas from it because, full disclosure, me and Les, with all of our ideas for Henching and anything we write in the future will be stolen from other things no one watches so that no one can call us on it. And I'm going to erase this from the podcast. So we're going to be smarter than Tarantino about it, though. And this movie rips off, like, Deep Blue Sea and Anaconda and fucking the Roland M. Like, no, what was it? The 1998 Godzilla, of all things. Like, it apes a lot of shots from that. I'm like, oh, stealing from the best, are we?
I mean, there really are. There's a lot of moments that are like, well, this is working. Like, well, I mean, yes, it's working. It's stolen wholesale from another movie where it had provenly been working. Like, yes, you just did an entire segment out of another shark movie that worked. I still don't know any of these people's names, except for the one little kid who just calls everyone by their familial relation.
No, she doesn't, it's not even right. She calls everyone uncle. Uncle. Yes. Everyone's uncle. Wait a minute. I'm like, to the point where I don't know who she's related to by the end of it.
Or why there was a child there in the first place. When they pop up out of a hatch in like Lost style onto the ground, and Nick and I went, were we not undersea like the abyss this whole movie? What the fuck?
No, they just pop up underneath and it's just all jungle. Like, wait a minute. So that was all a tank of water that we were keeping this thing in?
Yeah. Landshark.
Yeah, but we also, finishing off our, bad movie watch-a-thon, we watched Puppet Master Axis Rising, which has been the best in that franchise for quite a significant period of time.
Yeah.
Because they went back to the original model of the puppets, or at least restored them. I don't know what happened in fucking Puppet Master versus Demonic Toys if they couldn't use them. Blade's back to having drills in his eyes, baby.
And the male lead of it is the mayor in Resident Alien.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be clear, just to make sure that I am never going to watch any of the Puppet Master movies. I want to make this absolutely clear, just in all the episodes we talk about. I'm never ever going to watch any.
Would you be open to watching a clip show of some of the best kills of them?
Almost certainly not.
Because there's also movies that are just that.
Yeah, they have a great.
I'm not kidding. Full Moon actually puts together best
kidding.
kills of stuff, and like there's
no, I believe you, but I'm not watching that either.
And having seen, I don't know, a dozen of these movies or so far, there's not a lot of great kills. Like, I don't know what's going to be on that tape.
Because they're puppets.
I mean, seriously, like, and even in this one, which was one of the best of the Puppet Master franchise, and has the mayor from Resident Alien, who's actually pretty good, and ends on this great cliffhanger and goes into this trifecta of fucking Nazi fighting. But next movie, we get the Nazi puppets.
Yep.
Yeah, but even in this one, the way you die in a Puppet Master movie is that you lean into or stay still and move the puppet towards you. And like, you have to kill yourself on these fucking things. Almost every time.
I don't want to blame the victim on puppet killings, but really it feels like it's on them.
Seriously. Like,
it feels like if you got killed by one of these puppets, you didn't really want to live that bad in the first place.
Yeah, Leech Woman throws up a leech near a dude. He eats the leech and dies. That's on him. That's you ate that leech, buddy. That is on you.
Oh my god, Drill Sergeant drilled into my head. Why did you bend over?
I mean, like, literally, you laid there for 5 minutes of this scene. Yeah. And this was... I still love your Puppet Master franchise.
You have my heart.
What else, Nick? What else?
I watched, because of Landshark, I was up on Creature Features. I wanted to watch Alligator and Alligator 2, The Mutation, which were both fun. I had not watched them before, but they're available on Shudder, which is great. Robert Forster is in that first one. Awesome. they get away with a lot of like size comparison of having an actual alligator and then building smaller cars around him so the alligator looks big, and it's great. It's so great, in fact, they actually reused that shot for the sequel for Alligator 2. Like,
Of course they do.
and let's see, what else did I watch? I watched Atlanta, the second episode, the Spite episode, which and I had to watch that right after we recorded because I couldn't edit the podcast because I realized after I jumped off, I'm like, wait, fuck, I have to edit this.
Like, this doesn't work.
Why did I jump off when I'm going to listen to this immediately? Shit. So I had to watch it real quick before I edited. And wow. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Also, Randy, not shocked on your stance on the whole revenge thing.
Yeah, that's where I stand. I mean, nobody who knows me well, anyone who knows me well knows exactly where I would stand on it.
Yeah. To the you need to go back to therapy, Randy.
Do I, or do I need that money for revenge?
How much did you spend on this? Oh, it was worth it.
I think she's in debt.
Like, for real.
You're next, motherfucker.
Prick, you killed a guy with a trident.
Should lay low for a while. God, I love Atlanta. I watched some more of Overlord, the anime, and I watched a new anime on Netflix that was just called Bastard, which is another like anime based off of the villain as
Guts.
the main.
I know this one.
Oh, you do? Oh, I suppose you've seen
I
it.
do.
They've been
Wait,
promoting it a lot on
no.
Netflix for some reason.
Wait, Bastard is a different one, isn't it? I know this one too. Guts is Berserk, isn't it?
That's Berserk. You're thinking of either Berserk or
No,
Gantz.
But I know Bastard because Bastard is a guy.
You're probably thinking of Berserk.
No, I know Bastard as well. It's that guy did some Marvel stuff afterwards, so
Oh,
I
really?
actually know that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
He did a Wolverine manga, which is deeply out of print, but was kind of cool.
Neat.
Or am I thinking of Blame? This might be completely different. I feel like I know Bastard. I feel like I've read some of that.
Well, it's about this wizard that like gets reincarnated into a boy that has to be released by a virgin's kiss. Is that bringing in a bell?
Yes. Yep. Nope. I remember Bastard. Yep.
Wow. Okay. I referenced. I'm glad I did not use that for Stranger Than Fan Fiction. That would have been embarrassing.
I still probably wouldn't have recognized it. I'm sure.
I don't think it's actually that great. It's not horrible, but again, you have to get past a lot of sexually like, oh, that chick is naked. Isn't that funny? Her clothes are dissolving in acid.
Nick, I know it's only been 2 weeks, but every week that I see Overlord on your TV Diaries, and it is not the zombie World War II movie, I'm disappointed in you.
I mean, I can rewatch that one every week if you want me to. Don't challenge me to a good time.
Man, I don't think I've rewatched it. That should maybe go on my rewatch in the Halloween times. Really
as a man who has rewatched it, definitely. It's not a classic or anything, but god damn is that movie fun. It also makes you want a fucking Escape from America movie or whatever the next sequel is with fucking Snake Plissken's kid. Like, dude, strap an eye patch on that dude and let's get this movie made.
And then I see on your list, I see at the end of your list, the Munsters, kinda.
Munsters, in parentheses, kinda. Because I watched like 11 minutes and 23 seconds of it. And I was like, how long is this? An hour 50? Ooh, I'm done.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch the Munsters, but it became very clear to me from looking at people who saw it like at Fantastic Fest that like it's somehow worse than you think.
Oh man, it is. It is a bummer. I'll tell you what. It's shot. I mean, first of all, you see Sherry Moon Zombie and you realize she's the fucking vampiress or whatever, like basically the female lead, and I'm like, God damn it, Rob, stop this. I'm not saying your wife can't be in the movie, but don't make her one of the main fucking characters. At this point, if she hasn't learned to act, she's not gonna. It is now a point of pride for her. And Herman Munster somehow looks the worst out of all the costumes, which is crazy to me of like, wait, wouldn't you at least spend money on his? He's going to be the main guy we follow, I assume. I didn't end up finishing it. But yeah, it's a train wreck, guys. I could not get through it.
Yeah, it was on our potential movie movie at home, and I took that right off. So yeah. All right, that's TV Diaries.
That's it.
All right, well, we were gonna have Strange to the Fanfiction this week, but we do not, and there's a reason why. And what is the reason why?
Well, Nick and I have been swamped. I assume this is what Nick was too busy to prep Stranger Than Fanfiction, but as I alluded to earlier with puppet stuff, Nick and I are making a web series called Henchen that'll be shot in December. We're going to be Kickstartering it mid-October, so we'll be talking a whole lot more about that. This is not directly a TV Dudes project, but obviously we're two of the TV Dudes, and we're spending all of our waking moments on this. So, but yeah, people can go to henchen.com, HENCHIN.com, and check it out and see what we've posted so far. Cast announcements. We've got a puppet main character. The whole thing is live action, but there's puppets.
What's that puppet's name, Les? Considering what we were talking about
before. That puppet's name is Floyd. That's why I rewatched True Romance. It's because we have a puppet stoner roommate in our show.
Brad Pitt was not available, so we
Brad
got
Pitt
a
was
puppet.
unavailable. He's too busy doing Bullet Train. Chris Pine's not quite fully Brad Pitted yet, so yeah, we had to get a puppet. People can check him out online right now. There's photos of him. Yeah, this has been all we've been thinking about and doing recently. It's a show about workaday grunts in a city full of superpowered heroes and villains. 21 and 24, Venture Brothers, those kind of guys. The guy standing behind Lex Luthor holding laser sidearms while he monologues. Are they W-9? What's their insurance? That kind of shit.
I was gonna say the Kickstarter. I don't know if we remember the actual date of the Kickstarter of when it's gonna launch.
Yeah,
I don't know if we wanted to drop that.
I know it's gonna start October 11th.
October 11th. Got it.
All right. You'll be hearing more about that. We will keep people updated on that. It's a good place to remind you that you can support us by going over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us a buck an episode. In exchange, we get to keep up with our streaming services, pay for our hosting costs, and you get bonus content each week. This week, more home theater. We're talking about Netflix's new teenage revenge rom-com, Do Revenge, starring Maya Hawke, among other people. And
that
it's
I'm
really
sure
fun.
have
We'll be
names.
talking about that. They have names.
I'm almost positive about it.
One of them plays Veronica in Riverdale. That's as far as I got.
Yes.
That's where I know her from. Damn it.
Yes.
That's where you know her from. We also have our $20 showrunner level, so if there are shows you want us to throw into the rotation, you can buy into the level, give us a couple of ideas. Doesn't have to be anime. Definitely should not be Puppet Master. Should not be F1.
I don't think there's a Puppet Master TV series, honestly.
No, but there is a Demonic Toys TV series.
I'm going to start making a list of things that cannot be. There is no amount of money that you can give us to watch.
Man, you should just probably put Full Moon and cancel out that whole catalog, my man.
Yeah.
Good tip. I will do just that. All right. Let's move on to our new business for the week. And let's start by talking about Dahmer over on Netflix. Guys, this is Ryan Murphy. And we know he's got a crazy deal at Netflix. He's going to make like 100 shows for them.
Mm-hmm.
Evan Peters, who has done some stuff with him on American Horror Story.
I don't know what Ryan Peters has against Evan Peters. I mean, Ryan Murphy has against Evan Peters, but Jesus God.
Yeah. Evan Peters plays a note.
All right, this season you're going to have lobster hands. Okay, did I do something in you in a past life? What is?
Yeah. You're assuming that Evan Peters doesn't come to work and be like, "Hey, what weird shit can I do today?"
Right?
Like he feels like
must be down.
There's a meme going around of like, whatever sitcom is casting next, we don't care what it is. He deserves this. You need to give him a part on Ted Lasso or something. Like redeem this man.
This dude went in for the Ralph Boner thing. Like without question, he went in for it. So I feel like he may just be a weird dude.
Yeah.
Not as weird as Dahmer.
No.
To be clear, but this was unpleasant.
Oh, this is insanely unpleasant. Like
I watched the first episode and I thought, oh, they're going to do the thing where the cops take the gay victim back, and instead, oh no, it's a fake out. This is actually when he got caught.
He gets caught.
But they're referencing they definitely are referencing that. Like they're playing with those expectations.
They depend on your knowledge of that happening. Yeah, they really
apparently
are. Like
the show sticks very closely to or sticks fairly closely to the facts. The returning the kid is the second episode.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Well,
it jumps around in time a lot, which is one of my
Yeah.
complaints about it.
when I was done with the first episode, I was like, okay, I don't ever need to see more of this. It's fine. It's done well for what it is. I don't ever want to see more of the story.
Watching the first episode, I watched the first episode with Lisa. Fanny watched it separately, but in just discussing it, I told him, it's like, y'all haven't watched Hostel, like, or Saw, or any like neither Lisa nor Fanny I think have seen Hostel or seen like things that get branded torture porn for however you feel about slashers. Watching this in that first episode, it was like, no, there's a particular language being used here. This knows it's a horror movie and it is enjoying its monster at the center. And like, I don't know that that's quite okay with this material. I don't know. It's weird. I did see a complaint from families of one of the victims that felt re-traumatized watching it. What version of this show, that's not Ryan Murphy's fault. What fucking version of this show were you going to watch that was not going to be re-traumatizing?
Hear me out on this. Don't watch it. Like, wow.
Why
would you watch this?
Yeah. Don't
like,
watch it.
I don't mean I'm not making any light of what happened to them or anything, but like, there is no engaging with this material that would have been safe in that regard. That's ridiculous.
And I think the argument is probably they shouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
They don't do anything. And that's the argument of what is off limits for art. I
realized watching this how like weirdly much I remembered about Dahmer.
If it was against the rules for them to do it, they just would have done the same thing and not called him Dahmer. They would have made the same show, changed the name, and everyone would have known anyway.
Yep.
So
like I mean, Randy, you and I definitely lived through the news cycle on this. I remember this happening, but then also I kept having moments in the first two episodes I was watching of like,
I was alive for this, technically.
Well, like, why do I visually remember this? And then I realized, it's because I've already seen a horror movie of Jeffrey Dahmer. It was called Dahmer. It came out in 2002, and Hawkeye played him. Yeah. That's Jeremy Renner as Dahmer.
You know what's funny is that this, because it is so unpleasant and just wallows in it, it has no appeal for me. If they went the Ryan Murphy route and just were like deliberately offensive, if this was Dahmer the musical comedy, I would have watched every episode of it.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
Well, I mean, there is Cannibal the musical. I know you don't like Trey Parker and Matt Stone at this point, but
yeah, I don't.
But you could have a spadoical day.
That's what I'm saying. This is the worst version of this. This is like, let's take it super seriously. Let's do really dark. And I'm like, Evan Peters puts in a great performance.
Oh man, he really
it looks
kills
expensive.
It, no
like they definitely. This is a show that people worked on. They did.
Niecy
work.
Nash is amazing. Yeah.
Everybody did. Oh, Niecy Nash, of course, he got his players in this. Everybody does good work on a project that no one should probably have done.
Yeah, that you shouldn't make.
Well, I'm gonna I would say I got into like episode 5, but I will be honest, I skipped forward a lot. I didn't watch all of the episodes because as soon as I got the feeling for a scene,
I've had a few people tell me like, nope, I know what's about to happen here. I'm good.
Like you get the sense of the scene, and then it's gonna go on 5 minutes after that, just to make you uncomfortable. So you can really skip forward to the next scene and really not lose anything. And so I was doing that a lot, and I managed to get through half a season in a day. And I do like the fact that they show him as not a charismatic fucking Hannibal Lecter type. He's actually like, it's shocking how he took so long to get caught. Just like he relies so much on his white privilege and luck and police incompetence
and police homophobia full on works for him. Like in the second episode especially.
Oh, there's gay stuff in there.
Yeah.
Ugh. Well, now me and my partner got to go back into the station and shower. Like, wow, shocked that worked, but
yeah,
because a cop didn't want to touch a dildo, that kid died.
Yep.
It's kind of that thing of like, you have to really, it is a dark experience, and having to know that it actually happened and happened this way. Like Les said, it does not stray too far from the facts of the case in regards to that kid, how he made him into a zombie, how they found him finding earthworms. It is extremely sad and uncomfortable.
Yeah, when they play the real fucking phone call at the end of that episode, Jesus.
No, I think it's a reenactment of the phone call, but I do think it is a word-for-word reenactment of the phone call. That they you're talking about the phone call where she's like, it's a kid, right? Like, and she's...
It's the transcript of the call, at least, reenacted.
Yeah. Oh, also, as a resident of Wisconsin, I am impressed that one street actually did look like it came from this state. There's that street that they're on, like his actual apartment street where they're hanging out in front of. I'm like, holy shit, that actually looks like a 6th Street on Madison. Like otherwise, because no one actually shoots on location in Wisconsin. Like, why bother? Chicago doubles or Toronto, like, and no one can tell the difference anyway. But there's a certain level of gross grittiness that can only happen in a very alcoholic state by the past 3 a.m. that they actually captured in that one scene, which I thought was interesting. And I love the fact that he's like, oh, I'm an alcoholic, but only really in Miami. In Wisconsin, I'm just a problem guest.
Richard Jenkins in this, as in everything, is fucking great. As the dad.
Yeah.
When the cops sit him down in the first episode, which people can go check out our interview with Michael Beach or Niecy Nash. We've talked to both of them. But Michael Beach sitting him down as the cop and listing off all the crimes and what all they found and why they brought the son in. And I was just thinking, like, I don't care how many skeletons you talk about or how much shit you got out of my apartment. The first thing out of my mom or dad's mouth would have been, you have the wrong kid. Like, even if they knew in their soul I did it, they would be covering for me in that, at that stake level, at the level, at the level we're talking.
This dude knows it.
Not Richard Jenkins. He knows immediately, and like his first thing out of his mouth is he's always been a straight. Like, it's an apology. Like, you're right. I can't believe it's like there's an immediate. God damn it! I knew he was going to do something like this. But this is before we've seen him like, hey, Dad, roadkill. Like,
it's funny because it shows him trying to talk to his dad about these fantasies he's having, and that there's something wrong with him. In fact, it tries to talk to his grandma. He tries to talk to a lot of people that there's something wrong with him. But eventually he starts to talk about a sexual fantasy he's going to have, and everyone shuts them down. They don't want to talk to him about it.
Mm-hmm.
Nope, just keep that to yourself. Keep that repressed and down because they just think he's gay, and they don't want to hear it. And he's like, no, but there's actually something wrong with me. I need you to, like, listen to me on this. And they send him to college, even though he cannot. His grades don't. What does he get kicked out with, like a 0.45?
When he just cries begging to get to come home in the first place. Like, it's just bad.
And then the dad is like, well, we're going to get those grades up, or like, you're going to go into the army. I'm like, what do you think you're going to do with this kid? You can't, like, he's going to get bumped out of the army. He's just not right, dude. Like, you got to send him to a facility.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also like the, who is the neighbor played by? Fuck, I know her from a bunch of stuff. I think she gets an episode all to herself. I haven't watched it yet, and probably won't, because I agree with you on all the other marks of this show of, like, it's just uncomfortable, and I kind of already know the story anyway.
The neighbor when he's an adult, or when he's...
the neighbor when he's an adult, yeah.
Is that Niecy Nash you're talking about?
Niecy Nash, yes. Who's... the one that makes the call that they reenact.
Gloria, I believe is her name.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I like her thing of how I'm black in this neighborhood, calling the cops for me as a level of danger to the point where I need to be sure that not only is this dude guilty of weird shit, but I also need to make sure that they get him the first time. Because if they don't, he can come back and kill me just for being a problem and probably get away with it. So...
Yeah, the math on getting those cops.
I know. I was actually really sympathetic with her situation of, like, what do I do?
When the cops return the kid to him in the second episode, like, every time Niecy Nash or her daughters start to speak, the cops are like, hey, let's bring the temperature down here.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter what volume or what comes out of their mouth. It's always like, ladies, hey, calm down. And you can just see, it's kind of like Nick and I were talking the other day. It's like the Patton Oswalt's wife, the Golden State Killer that they caught a few years ago. And, like, the guy's not a fucking mastermind. Cops are just terrible at getting past some
Yeah.
basic biases. One
Yeah.
principal one being that other cops can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And like, Randy, you saw the first episode where how easy it was
Yeah.
to find evidence in that goddamn apartment. So it was like, okay, so
Mhm.
anyone who stepped foot in here should have fucking like been able to get.
Yeah. It should have been very obvious right away.
There's
yeah,
a
but-
head in the fucking fridge, man.
Like there's blood on everything.
And he's doing the thing, like he's the like, well, it's just some gay stuff. Like he's gotten away with this before, and it's very clear that he knows how to do it.
Yeah, but he's just disintegrating.
That's the only thing I can think of is that why he doesn't put up more effort and why he lets them in the first place is that he's done this before and it worked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. It fully fucking worked. Yeah.
He just
Yep.
thinks
It's
he's gonna get
terrifying.
away with it again because he did a couple times before, and it's dark.
My only hope out of like in terms of is this a good thing to have done or a good show to no, but
No.
if this helps the sexy Dexterness look fucking disgusting for a minute, I'm down with
Yeah.
that, but I don't think it will. I don't
Dude,
think that's how this works.
I think you finally nailed what I ended up not liking about Dexter is when he becomes the hero in the later half of the seasons. I think I like the first
Yeah.
season where they treat him like a monster and that he's like, no, that dude's a freak.
Yeah, like you're
Yeah.
just barely breaking even by only killing other monsters, dude. Yeah. And yeah, there's only so much that like, hey man, I'm sorry about your childhood, but fuck, dude.
Right. And
Yeah.
it is a failure of not only him but the parental system and the society of just like if anyone had talked to him at any point about any of this and got a red flag at all, this could have been
He was
stopped.
already a registered sex offender before
Yes.
any of this starts. That kid they
Had-
returned to him, he'd already molested that kid's older brother
Yep.
and been caught and was on the registry in that apartment.
Let me ask you guys a question about this. You guys are talking about all this information. Do you think there's any merit to the show being done so that people see sort of the institutional corruption,
That I
how we
hope.
fail, mental health, that kind of thing?
Dahmer's a monster,
is
but
that the
everything,
silver lining?
yeah, everything around him is fucking shit. It's awful.
That's
yeah.
the only thing I can take away from it, Randy, is that if there's anything good about this show is that it does show that no, serial killers aren't masterminds and always like these sexy, weird, convincing people. Sometimes the world doesn't
Mhm.
want like just gives some people more advantages than others. The white
It's
calm
the-
dude
Mhm.
that's just
The Fight Club premise. Yeah, if you look bad enough
Yeah.
on Monday morning, no one will ask what happened on your weekend.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just stuff we don't want to fucking pick at.
All right, let's jump over and talk about another Netflix show that y'all were trying to drag me into. That is The Imperfects. This is much less unpleasant. It's more fun, but it didn't quite grab me. I watched an episode and I was like, it's cute. It reminds me of a CW show. And none of the characters loved. I didn't love any of the characters enough. Like if we were still in the era when there was like alphas and that kind of thing, I'd be all over this.
This reminded me of
Mhm.
alphas that move 3 times faster.
Yeah, I guess at this point I was like, I don't need this. I don't need off-brand superheroes. I have real superheroes now.
It's funny you said that, Randy, because I was like, oh, this is a CW show if they actually just did 10 episodes a season rather than like 32 or whatever the fuck they
Yeah,
ended up
Yeah.
doing. Because it does move at a pretty good pace.
it doesn't have a license. Like the reason the CW shows got me for any length of time was because they were doing
DC.
things that had nostalgia hooks in me. Same to some extent with MCU or Disney. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think it's all well done, but without the nostalgia hooks, it wouldn't work. This is solid, but I'm not invested in these characters, and I'm like, I don't have time for a new group of superheroes
Yeah, I get that.
or a sci-fi premise. But y'all definitely really like this, so talk about it.
I think the main thing that grabbed me about it is the surprise that yes, obviously the kids are the main characters on the show, but really the main crux of the world is that in the same way that like Fringe, you kind of started to get this feeling that maybe there was a lot of fucking batshit science out there and that like Massive Dynamic was that they had far outpaced the government. And you get this feeling in the world of Imperfects that there's a lot of labs that are fucking with cloning because like, yeah, it's illegal, but you can also have a CRISPR in a home lab and like, and like do weird gene editing shit. And so like we're at this cusp of mad science. And there's kind of a military DARPA government agency.
It's rogue scientists, Les. Get it right.
Yeah, that's supposed to get rogue scientists. I'm sorry. It's a mad scientist is pejorative. But that there's this government agency that's supposed to keep a lid on that shit. And they are as bad as you think that would go. And so like these kids think that like, you son of a bitch, you did this to us, and then this slow realization that like, you fucking pricks are everywhere. Like they keep running into another lab and like, wait, who the fuck are you? What are you doing? Oh God. And like realizing that like they're not nearly the worst thing that's been made. Like there's so much worse shit.
Also, how dismissive every other scientist is of all the other scientists of like.
Yeah. Yeah, they're all just like, everyone else is a fool and we're all just trying to race to publish. Yeah. Oh, I can never leave this building. Those nanobots will kill us all. But, you know, I'm not like that fuck.
No, I'm not trying to build immortality. Those guys are weirdos. Fucking pretentious.
Right. Yeah, the immortality weirdos.
How many people are working on immortality? More than you think.
Like I liked this. Like the kids are fun and their powers are cute, but and I'm glad that they do actually get to show them and use them. They spend a lot of like CW freeform time wrestling back and forth with whether killing's wrong. But the most interesting thing to me are these basically rudderless scientists who have decided on frequently some good plan. Like, hey, climate change is coming and we will all need to survive it. Like, okay, I hear that. You've turned a bunch of children into monsters in order to accomplish that goal. So like, hey, you gotta, break a few eggs. Like, yeah, no, man, that's not. And that was the most surprising
maybe
thing.
if you say it with a Kiwi accent, it'll sound less sinister.
Their weird little mad, like realizing that their weird mad scientist has done this to them on purpose and has no, like his apologies are like, he has no regrets about it. Like he fully did it. Like even when they confront him about it, he's like, no, I'm not sorry. Like I'll fix you. Like at one point they realize that while he's been saying I'll fix you, like they really need to drill down on whether like, are you going to turn me permanently into a chupacabra or back to human? Like, oh no, back to human's out of the question. I'm going to make you permanent. Like, wait, motherfucker. Like there's just constant
that
like,
is not, that's not what I meant.
That's not what I meant. Yeah. It kind of zigs a little bit where I thought it would zag, and it goes faster than most of these shows. But I still also watch a lot of CW.
Okay. Is that covered Imperfects, I guess? Should we move on to Andor, which I don't think anybody wants to really talk about?
No, let's talk about Imperfects more.
So here's the thing with Andor. I watched it. I watched the 3 episodes. I was not taken with it. I, in fact, very much disliked it. And I don't like Rogue One, and this felt like a lot of the same problems I have with Rogue One. And the funny thing is, at the end of it, I was like, it's going to be real ironic if Les and Nick actually like this, because the thing people point to with Andor is it's not like Star Wars. And it's not. This is not a Star Wars show. If this was just a sci-fi show, not set in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, if you told me this was Expanse.
Like I'd be more interested in it. I think it would grab me better. But this doesn't fit in the Star Wars universe, and it felt weird, and it felt like it doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And that's how I felt watching those 3 episodes. I was like, also, the 3 episode thing, this thing was delayed a month, and I'm like, did they watch an episode and realize no one's going to keep watching this? They only get the 1 episode. We've got to give them 3, and they're not done yet, so we got to push this thing a month.
Did they realize that this show doesn't actually start until Ep 3?
I feel like that's what happened. And I don't know. I don't have any evidence for that. But that is my feeling, is like the reason it was delayed so late, the reason it was moved, the reason they dropped to 3 episodes when Disney does not do that was there's no fucking way people are going to watch this if we drop 1 episode of Andor. Like by the time we get to, it's going to take so long to get people into it. We've got to do this 3 episode thing. And the thing is, 3 episodes was enough for me. It wasn't until I watched the 4th that I started going, oh shit, there's stuff I think is interesting about this. And I'm angry about it because I don't want to like this show. Tony Gilroy's been such a prick about Star Wars, and I think fucked up a perfectly good premise in Rogue One, that I'm like, I don't understand the notion of making Star Wars for people who hate Star Wars, or MCU for people who hate Marvel, or even DC for people who hate DC. Like, what are you doing? You have an audience. I understand the wanting to be a little off-brand. I understand that wanting to expand the brand, but this is specifically made for people who don't already like it. Is a weird fucking thing to do.
Yeah, because I mean, I assume I would be that audience, and it doesn't work. Like that ship has sailed far, far away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was going to say into a galaxy far, far away.
Yes, indeed.
But yeah, the thing I noticed about it was that, wow, is it would the other Star Wars shows, if they didn't have lightsabers in them, feel this goddamn slow? Like, was that the only thing that was keeping me from, like, snoozing during this whole fucking thing?
No, I swear to you, you look at the other Star Wars shows, they all move faster. This is Tony Gilroy's
this is Gilroy's
style.
Rogue One style. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the pacing of the other Star Wars shows is also kind of fucked, but not as fucked as this show is.
Well,
the flashbacks to the kid are like, oh, I don't care about this at all.
At all. I'm like a stone barely skipping on interest, and then we hit that kid stuff, and I'm like, I didn't watch Avatar. Fuck this.
and the thing is, I get what he's trying to do. Like the notion of showing just how bad the Empire is and trying to trying to show that ACAB in the Star Wars universe, I'm all down for that. Trying to show there was always people, we used to talk a plane, we're like, it's weird that the Empire, like all the Empire are British. It's weird that everyone is. It sort of says something about the British people, and now I'm like, oh no, that was deliberate.
Yeah,
you were definitely pointing to British colonialism. Like you definitely and putting that on the nose, like that makes sense.
And I kind of love seeing just schlubs having to fucking live, just living in Star Wars. Like it is interesting. Like I like seeing little tucked away corners of the universe that aren't directly Skywalker centric. But yeah, it just I don't. This was probably as interesting as you could make Star Wars for me, and I know that means that you are driving away from the main Star Wars audience. And it's still not enough. Like,
this is not as interesting. Like, Star Wars Visions was for Star Wars people that don't like Star Wars, of cool ideas. This is a boring spy show that can't even commit to its one premise of like Rogue One, where I see what they're trying to do and it's not working. And the reason it's not working is that what they're trying to do is showing Cassian's journey to becoming the dude that shoots a friend of his in the beginning of Rogue One, an ally of his. So showing him here, not wanting to kill people and being really regretful of it, is supposed to be this a reverse growth, because usually it's the bad guys become redeemed and become good guys in the Star Wars universe, a la Han Solo.
But they still opened it with him shooting that dude in the head.
Yeah, they did.
But that means that it doesn't feel like the badass, gritty universe that you want it to be from Rogue One, because your main character is a spy that doesn't want to kill people.
But the thing is, I think if Gilroy wanted to make that show, if he wanted to make Born in the Star Wars universe or whatever he wanted to make, he should have looked at The Night Manager and some of the other shows that have done John le Carre and have done slow spy shows, but have still been interesting. This is slow and mostly boring. Also, I don't know if he needs captions or what, but Gilroy cannot introduce a character to save his goddamn life. Like, I don't know any of the names of these characters. I know them by their type. I know them by the actor who plays them, but I don't know who any of these characters are. That was a problem with Rogue One too. Like, you gotta introduce these characters. You gotta give me their name more than once. You have to tell me who they are.
And then they do the weird, and I think I've seen this in other shows too as well, but maybe not to this extent. But the white dude that's jealous of the two Latinx characters, and is willing to like get one of them killed over it. I'm like, okay, I know the Empire is gonna fucking shoot him in the street. Or like he's not gonna be arrested. You know that, like. So you're willingly, because you're jealous of his relationship with your girlfriend, gonna get this guy killed.
Also, I hated that droid. I hated that fucking droid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I like that at least one droid is a box shape rather than some sort of trash can.
Yeah, I guess. This show got interesting to me when Stellan Skarsgård. Is it Stellan Skarsgård? No. Which Skarsgård? It's Stellan
Skarsgård. It's Stellan Skarsgård. When he shows up, finally this show gets some life in it.
And that's why episode 4 has more of him and more of what he's doing, and it's a lot more interesting. And they're showing episode 4 is all about how a rebellion starts, and really like what it would be like to be a partisan in this universe where basically you're going to get killed 99% of 100, 99 times out of 100, being a rebel gets you killed in this universe. And that's more interesting. But it took them 3 episodes to get to it for no reason.
It finally got interesting when Skarsgård shows up and starts telling him, like, this is how you actually do it, kid. Here's spycraft. And like, oh shit, why wasn't this the first fucking episode? This feels cool.
Yeah, I don't know why we spent 2
I love
episodes.
that Diego Luna was like, also, I'm a nobody. They're so fucking full of themselves, they don't think that anyone with just a fucking uniform can just waltz in and having that idea of a big enough when you're a big enough enemy, you start to think that your smaller enemy cannot hurt you,
Yeah.
and that's what really destroys the Empire, and that fits in with the theme of the first 3 movies,
Mm-hmm.
and of the one can overcome the many because of being underestimated. And like you said, Randy, that's a great story to get to at the end of the first episode,
Yeah.
not in the beginning of the 4th.
That is my issue with it. It's slow, and I think that a lot of the stuff that people seem to really like in episodes 1 and 2 was just dead weight to me. I'll say this: we are very much the minority here. People love
Yes,
Andor.
I noticed that.
People who hated Rogue One loved Andor, and I felt very alone talking about this.
I saw one that was like Star Wars for adults, and I was like, what a condescending.
Yeah,
Yeah, what a
Fucking-
dick
yeah.
thing to say.
I think that's part of what I'm reacting to is like, you know what? I liked Star Wars. I understand that Star Wars is wildly uneven, but coming at this like being Gilroy basically presenting himself as the savior of Star Wars and people buying it pisses me off on such a fundamental level that I want to not like this show.
Well, Boba Fett, or no, I'm sorry, Mandalorian actually feels more gritty than
Mhm.
this, because Mandalorian is known to like just shoot down and cut people in half with doors,
Mm-hmm.
and every once in a while they go too soft on him too, but
Yeah.
that feels way more of a adult Star Wars, if we want to term it that, which is fucking stupid.
Agreed.
But if
Yeah.
you a more serious, like, no, it's not good, like it's a morally gray show, Mandalorian's already doing that way
Why
better.
doesn't
Mhm.
I didn't catch any, and maybe I just wasn't looking for, but I watched 2 hours of this. I watched the first 2 episodes. Did they use any of the Star Wars visual language like the wipes?
No,
This does not look like Star Wars, right?
Well, and also that's deliberate. Gilroy's been interviewed on this. Like, they didn't film this in that whatever the big CGI bowl thing that they created for everything.
Yeah.
He wanted practical sets and effects.
I
and
mean,
I'm like,
that's fine. The originals had those, but
yeah, but
Well,
it
the
just-
problem is the color palette,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
this is really technical and really weird, but when you make everything more look realistic, everything gets more brown and gray, to the point where even the pseudo stormtroopers that are chasing after them are wearing gray and faded out orange uniforms.
hmm
And I'm like, this would be better with stormtroopers. And
Yeah.
I don't know why they're not stormtroopers, because their shiny white uniforms would contrast with the poor, dirty place that you're putting
there was
them in.
always something to me that there was kind of a fuck you about the stormtroopers just being shining bright white.
Right.
Like there's like
Like,
I'm not
we-
trying
we-
to hide.
yeah.
There's an
we
arrogance
dare
to
you
it.
shoot
Yeah.
us. Yeah,
Yeah, and I'm like, that's what really works about that. And even then, the sky isn't blue enough. The grass, the ground isn't a light enough brown. It's a hard time trying to describe that. I am not a cinematographer, but Star Wars is no matter which story, it's a bright, colorful, interesting universe. It
Yeah.
looks alien. It does not look like Earth. And this one looked like Earth, and that's what made it really boring.
yeah, I agree. Anyway, here's the thing. I know you all both are done with this probably. I'm going to keep watching it. I will report back if I turn around. I started to turn around against my own wishes on episode 4. We'll see if that continues. And I wind up going, oh, I really like Andor. But that said, I still feel it's the weakest of all the Star Wars shows, even the mess that was Book of Boba Fett.
Oof, that's saying something.
Yeah. All right, let's jump over and have dessert. We ran a little long this week, so we probably get a quick little dessert. But we got to talk about She-Hulk and her Just Jen episode, as she has an inconveniently timed bride episode, goes to a wedding with Patty Harrison playing the
That
bridezilla,
she was great.
and that was super fun.
So
I just enjoyed
I
everything.
saw a
about that.
great post that was like, after we introduced this amazing fashion designer last time, he sends her to this wedding in something she got at Ross.
Yes,
And
but she looks great in it.
well,
She looks fantastic.
but
in
then
it.
and then separately, the first thing they said to him was, "We need clothes that fit both forms." It is a complete fail
Mhm.
on every front. Like, I really
Yeah.
next episode I wanted to go back and be like, "So that dress looked like ass." You realize?
I thought they said that they need 2 wardrobes that fit 2 forms, or did they
I thought
say
the
that?
way she phrased it was like, "I need clothes that fit both forms."
That's what I heard too, and that's the thing. I think
Oh,
I
okay.
think they were. This is the first time they've done this, but they undercut the premise to make a joke.
Yeah.
And I think that's what hurt, because basically her in the slumpy in the slumpy dress that was fit for She-Hulk is the gag.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm like, but you can't have her have gotten that dress from him. It's got to be like
That has to be regular clothes.
It's got to be, he hasn't finished the dress yet, but I got one that looks amazing as She-Hulk. I'm not going to change it to Jen at this wedding. Like it's got to not tie into that, and that's it's a dialogue fix.
Let us deal with the suspension of disbelief of where did she get a dress that big? Let us deal with that.
Yeah, let us know what she went. She went to Ross and Taylor or something, but like don't do that. It's a minor thing, but it is a weird thing of like in general they've been pretty good at not undercutting the premise to make a joke, and this was undercutting the logic of the show to make a joke.
That said, I loved DJ Incredible Hulk.
Yes, oh man, I loved everything about this wedding.
Madison should have been his plus one.
The star of this show was Mr. Immortal.
Oh yeah,
I was so happy to see a weird ass Great Lakes Avenger, and I loved what they did with it.
The fact that he doesn't die for very long, it's less than a minute. It's not like his widows think he's dead and he sneaks away later out of sight.
No,
they watch him get up.
And
he is literally like, nope, it's a technicality. I died.
Till death do us part, baby.
I like Mallory Brooks wants nothing to do with him. She is so disgusted by him.
The fact that they start to argue with him and he can't when they're talking to him about how messed up he's doing, he jumps out the window. Like,
yeah,
you saw it coming too.
Yeah,
he's like, I just don't do conflict well, and they start talking. I'm like, oh, well, I know it's coming.
Dude,
later on in the negotiation across the table, they both put a shoulder. Like they have to sit him back down at the table of like,
they both put us because he's heading for the window. They know he's heading for the window.
He's going for it.
But also, I love that Mallory Book, for all her being like the power lawyer, she recognizes that Nikki's good at this, and Nikki gets all these deals made.
Yes.
Nikki got time to shine in this episode, and it was really cool.
Nikki is at her job. Yeah,
I would watch them as their own show. I really love this.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, I'm a sucker for like this is hitting all the alley-mobile feels. Like this is just a really great, fun, cute lawyer show that also has fucking She-Hulk in it. And oh my god, her cracking the veneers off to Tanya.
Oh yeah,
boy. Also, I love that it's so depressing. Of like, it's just going to get worse and worse. That I like. Oh, it's Mr. Immortal. A Great Lake Avengers is on my television screen in live action in a very expensive production, and I can't see a Batgirl movie that has actually been made.
Right?
Yeah. Or a Grendel TV series, which also got canceled, even though it's all done.
Oh wow, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, they just canceled that today.
My God.
I don't know what the fuck is going on at some of these companies.
Well, and it just makes Mr. Immortal feel like a weirder and weirder flex of like Marvel, like, we can make anything.
We can do whatever we want, and you guys are going to watch it.
I loved, because didn't the directors of Batgirl direct some Miss Marvel episodes, I think?
They did.
And so Feige reached out of like,
oh yeah,
hey, you've always got a home over at Marvel. Like, oh, that's cold.
Yeah.
It's cold, bro.
He's like, we know what to do with talent. We actually know what to do here. So if you want to come over and do some more work with us, yeah. Anyway, super fun. I'm still loving She-Hulk, and I thought this was another fun episode.
I want my stingers back, please.
I also would like my stingers back. No, we had a stinger. It was just a pre-credit stinger.
Yeah, it was like they've moved them to like, because the science-y thing like could have easily been the pre-credits, but I think they're saving those for
that's the stinger.
Fun stuff.
It's just like that's the thing. Just like the Daredevil, that was the stinger. Why did you put it where you put it?
Yeah,
I don't know.
Anyway, but it's still fun.
Yeah, that is not a slight against the show. Like I could give a shit. Like that's a minor quibble.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, should we jump over and talk about Lower Decks?
Sure.
Yeah. This week's was the Starfleet recruitment.
A rare plot episode.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Or at least somewhat, because we get into Rutherford and his what do you call
that
it?
Implant
backup
thing.
Personality.
Yeah.
This was the most interested I've ever been in Rutherford.
Yeah, I didn't realize they didn't know.
He's been an also-run character.
I didn't realize that we didn't know where I'd forgotten that he doesn't know where his thing came from.
Yeah. Well, he thought he did because they told he.
That's right. He believes it's
mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He thought he did it on purpose. He's like, oh no, I just chose to get the implant, and it turns out that's bullshit. And it's here's the thing. I have a weakness for much as I love the Federation, I want it to be a good thing. I have a weakness for conspiracies within the Federation. That weird conspiracy episode where there were tribbles, or not tribbles, but like trilobite things controlling admirals. I have a huge fondness for that Next Gen episode.
Well, now you just start to sound like truthers, the booth truthers. What?
So-
No, I think that one actually happened.
Yeah, that one actually happened.
Let me just
Yeah,
say, that's never been. Oh shit! Really?
So
Shit.
So the notion of Rutherford having this like conspiracy thing is really makes him much more interesting
Yeah.
to me than he's been.
Separately, I loved watching Starfleet have to recruit.
Oh God! I also love Vosh is like the archaeologist woman who's like one of Picard's like loves and that kind of thing. That there's a whole guild. This notion of like setting up the more adventurous version of Starfleet. The archaeologists are like we're like Starfleet without the rules. We're cool. Like that's such a good idea, and making her someone who obviously is going to have an affair with Mariner.
Yeah.
Like there's obviously chemistry there, and giving her own Vosh. I'm like, that's a nice little like triple nod to next gen. I like that a lot.
I would say that, but they're not building up the Jennifer relationship for that to matter enough, you know?
Yeah.
But I think what they're going to try and do is at the end of this season, she's going to go off to the archaeologist guild
Oh, I agree.
and fuck over Boimler like he did in the
Yes.
previous season.
100%. I think that's where they're going. Yeah.
That's probably what, and then maybe they'll end up with a relationship like that. Although I do like that Boimler, once he's the one that flips out when he gets his
snaps.
pip.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
that was
and then
great.
it just goes on for hours, and like while she just continually
Yes.
recruits.
Yeah.
It goes forever.
Yeah. Yeah.
You think we want to save you all? No. All we want to do is study quasars and nerd shit.
That was
But it's the
great
right thing to
and
do.
So fun.
Yeah.
I loved that.
Yeah, they're like arguing whether or not Starfleet's a military. Like, what? No, we're not. Sure, you're not a pseudo navy at all.
All right. Well, I think that does it for us this week. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Les.
Thanks, Randy. Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, dudes.
And thank you to our listeners. Thank you to our patrons. Reminder, you can go over to patreon.com/tvdudes. Throw us that $1 an episode. Listen to us talk about, we're talking about a lot of movies right now. And we've talked about movies of the past, like Nicolas Cage movies. Just $1 an episode gets you all that and helps keep us running. And until next time,
TV Dudes now! The TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.